Recently, Ethan Klein from H3H3 Productions and the H3 podcast released a Twitter post in relation to James Charles and the allegations against James Charles I discussed in one of my older videos, so go watch that video if you want to be filled in on all the specifics. But basically, Ethan Klein released a tweet on March the 9th about this situation where he makes claims against James Charles and attempts to cancel him based on flimsy logic at best. So today I want to discuss those tweets, give my opinion on them, and very quickly summarize and explain what's going on to fill you in, keep you updated, and get your opinion on this whole situation so far. So with that being said, if you haven't already, go watch my previous video about the James Charles allegations. They'll fill you in on everything that's going on, and then come back here and then you'll get all your information that you could need to understand what's going on. But before we go any further into this video, if you're new to the channel or haven't already, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Only 30% of my viewers are subscribed, so if you want, it would be really cool if you could just scroll below and click subscribe. I think this video will be the one that ticks me over to 15k, which is crazy. It means so much to me, so thank you for all your support. Leave a like, subscribe, feel free to check out my other socials down below like my Twitter and my Discord, and yeah, let's get into it. Ethan released a tweet saying, "Does Chipotle know they're sponsoring a known sexual predator?" with an image of James Charles, and oh my god. Firstly, going after someone's sponsors is one of the most scummy things you could do as a creator, knowing that those sponsors pay people's bills and fund their channels. Also, when you start promoting that kind of thing publicly, that sponsors shouldn't work with James Charles because allegations were levied against him, that sets the precedent that sponsors won't work with many controversial creators, and as such, it will be a lot harder for smaller creators to get sponsors because companies will be afraid of ending up in this situation, like with James Charles. What Ethan's doing here is basically victim shaming the company on this precedent that they're working with a sexual predator, when the evidence on James Charles isn't conclusive. It's not even close to conclusive enough to make the kind of claim that he's a sexual predator. That kind of claim is, at this moment, insane and unfounded, given the fact that the only evidence we currently have is that James Charles had engaged with a minor, but they'd lied about their age, which is not illegal for James Charles to have that situation. That's not how the law works, because they lied about the age. He couldn't have known better. He would be the victim in that situation, though nobody really knows the full 100% of that story yet, and both sides claim different things. But there is not enough evidence to claim this kind of thing against James Charles, but I get the feeling that Ethan, he has grudges with Keemstar, to the point where he literally worked with a doxer just to get digs on Keemstar, right? This doxer that had sent porn and all this stuff, porn. It was a bad situation, right? But Ethan also seems here to be, because of the whole Teddy Fresh, James Charles merch scandal, potentially trying to take down James because of a preconceived grudge. That's just my guess. I couldn't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe what I've said is completely out of left field and everyone disagrees. This tweet just seems so completely unfounded and slanderous. Ethan then comments on his own tweet, and that's when it becomes worse. Ethan replies to his own tweet, "Yes, to answer your question, I am trying to cancel James Charles. He, of all people, is completely deserving of it after admitting to exchanging nudes with a 16-year-old. This is a pattern of behavior that should land him in prison, not collaborating with Chipotle." And there's a few things I need to break down here. He admits to trying to cancel James Charles over allegations. So if you get accused of anything anymore, and H3H3 doesn't like you, I'm sorry guys, but he's going to try and cancel you. That is what he's acknowledged here, because there is not enough evidence to make these claims against James, but he's making them. At this point, he could genuinely get sued for this, because this is pretty much slanderous. And he also misleads the fact that James Charles admits to exchanging nudes of a 16-year-old. He misconstrues what James said. James acknowledged the fact that they had lied about their age, and he didn't know they were 16. He is not responsible in that situation. And Ethan says that James should be in prison. For what? For being lied to? For taking the benefit of the doubt? Yes, there is criticism to be had on the fact that the power dynamic existed, but the fact that he didn't know their age is not his fault, because they lied about their age. However, he should have definitely taken ID, but he can't be held accountable for someone that lies about their age. It's simple as that. That's not how accountability works. And most people have responded to this by saying, don't go after people's sponsors. You should never go after people's sponsors. Or bringing up Ethan's controversial past, like when he allegedly did blackface. And I feel like people are missing the point here. Doing the exact same thing he's doing to James Charles, to him, does nothing but validates what he's doing, promotes his behaviour, normalizes his behaviour, and does the exact same thing, making you hypocrites to the thing you're calling him out for. Ethan is a terrible person. That doesn't mean because he calls out someone else that everyone's gonna try and go after his sponsors. It's dumb. It's really bad. The way that Ethan promotes this sort of belief and the way that people are responding by allowing it and then doing the same thing to Ethan is concerning, because it does show a shift in how people respond to these situations, from calling people out and saying this behavior isn't acceptable, it should never be done, to, yeah, you went after this guy's sponsors, let's go after your sponsors for the controversial things you've done. It's a repetitive cycle of people just getting worse and worse and doing all these awful things to try and get the one up on the person, as a result becoming just as bad as that person, or in some cases worse. Ethan is warranted in criticism. However, trying to go after his sponsors, especially because you're calling them out for doing the same thing, is dumb. Obviously, he slandered James Charles by calling him a sexual predator when the evidence is not there, and James probably could sue him for slander at this point. However, that doesn't mean that we now go after Ethan's sponsors. This whole situation is so concerning because obviously Keemstar's now going to take advantage of this to benefit himself again. It's concerning that people let Ethan's behaviour go pretty much unchecked, and because he called out Keemstar, someone that people didn't like, everyone was like, yeah, H3, I don't like you, but you make good points, so I'm not going to call you out. Ethan has literally called a young creator a sexual predator because someone lied to them about their age, according to the creator, although that's not confirmed, and at the time, that is all up in the air, as I said in my previous video. But as I'm stating, Ethan doesn't have the sufficient evidence here, so for him to be making this claim could be considered slanderous because the evidence he has doesn't support the claim he's making, and as a result, he's making a claim on unfounded evidence. So, at this point, I believe you genuinely could consider this slander, and it's concerning. He doesn't state this an allegation, doesn't state anything like that. He calls James Charles a sexual predator, and goes after his sponsors. This kind of behaviour isn't acceptable for any creator, especially not someone like H3, but because he's such a big creator, he gets a pass. He always will. Everyone will forget, oh yeah, H3 didn't do that, we'll just forget it, sweep it under the rug, it didn't happen, because he's H3. People don't like H3 anymore. That doesn't mean that people want to cancel him, because everyone still has that respect, I guess, for who he used to be, I guess. H3 deserves to be called out for this, and for now, I believe that James Charles could genuinely even have a case against him, because making claims like this, especially on unfounded evidence, can be considered slanderous. It genuinely can. But that's where I'll leave this video. I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below. Just tell me what you think. I'd love to know. If you have enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, check out more videos on my channel. They will be in the end card, and they should be on your recommended now. Also, check out my other socials. That'd be cool. Shout out to Spy62 for their $90 Patreon donation. And yeah, peace.
Says she wanna rock with it like me. I'm a stylish guy. Spend a little guap with it like me. We can catch a fly. Says she wanna rock with it.